If you want to feel the wind blowing through your hair and see the great city of Nashville at the same time, check out Nashville Scooter Tours. Trekking through the downtown streets to Music Row with Nashville Scooter Tours is safe, eco-friendly, and a whole lot of fun. They use Xenon electric scooters that go 55 miles on a single charge. Find out more by calling 615-290-5563 or book your reservation today at NashvilleScooterTours.com. Today's show is brought to you by locally owned and operated Highland Rim Speedway. Highland Rim Speedway is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year with great short-track door-to-door stock car racing in a safe, family-friendly atmosphere. Visit their website at highlandrim.com.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Week 16 of Football Fantasy. On the field with me, Nancy Filippelli, and my gorgeous wingwoman, Sharra Rivera.
Surprise!
Okay, playoff time is in full swing in fantasy. I beat Miss Indiana, Jamie Miller, who we had on the show a couple weeks ago, to knock her out of the playoffs and solidify my spot in the semifinals to play in the championship game, then of course to move on to the Super Bowl and take home that title. We'll take a look at the Pigskin Pussycat playoff situation a little bit later on in the show. We'll also take a look at the NFL rankings, rundowns, and recaps, especially the Jets and the Titans. And we also have a very special guest on the show a little bit later, actor, activist for the arts, and diehard fantasy football junkie, Jonathan Schaech. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
From the family grocery hauler to fire-breathing racing engines, the one name you need to know is USA Motor and Machine, located at 51 Cleveland Avenue in Nashville, Tennessee. Give them a call at 615-726-3725 or at usamotorandmachine.com. Jeff Meeks and Chris Austin invite you to watch your favorite sports event at the Batter's Box at 43 Hermitage Avenue in Nashville, Tennessee. The Batter's Box offers shuttle service to all Titans home games. It's a great place for friends to gather for the game and after the game. So check out the Batter's Box Bar and Grill, and thanks again for sponsoring the show.
Titans-Jets recap. Who's happy? This kid is. Even though the Titans stood no shot at the playoffs, this was one of the most entertaining games I have ever had the pleasure of going to. Wasn't it, Sharka?
It was fabulous. I'll tell you what.
So excited. Chris Johnson, with a franchise record, went 94 yards for the longest touchdown run in the NFL since 2006. And the Tennessee Titans beat the Jets 14-10 on Monday night to eliminate the New York Jets from the playoffs.
It's pretty legendary.
I'm very excited. The Jets had plenty of time and opportunity in the fourth to take the lead, but Sanchez kept giving the ball away. Griffin intercepted Sanchez on a pass intended for Braylon Edwards. On the next drive, the Jets got help from a personal foul when Titans linebacker Will Witherspoon hit Sanchez in the head with his helmet on 3rd and 4. Oops.
Damn.
A couple of plays later, Sanchez threw into triple coverage for Jeff Cumberland, and Griffin picked off Sanchez again with 1:51 left at the Titans 2. It was just brilliant. Amazing interception by Michael Griffin. Love that guy. Love him. Sanchez was 13 of 28 for 131 yards and a touchdown. He finished with the most interceptions in a game since 2009. Pretty much, he kind of stunk it up. The Jets even turned to Tebow in the second quarter. They picked up 2 first downs and reached their own 44, but the drive stalled. From there, after a sack, a delay of game penalty, and an incompletion, they pretty much played like, what? Sanchez returned the Jets next series and promptly threw his first interception to McCourty. Another interception. It was
then what
hideous.
happened?
Okay. The Titans dominated this primetime game and spoiled the Jets' playoff hopes in this 14-10 victory at LP Field.
Let's see a little recap of that.
Why don't we, Brian?
That beautiful
Here
football
is why.
footage.
Let's head to Nashville. There was a moment of silence. The Jets
they're giving
all
they're
had decals
taking a
on
moment
their
for
helmets
Sandy Hook
honoring the
Elementary
victims
School.
of Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Chris Johnson wrote the names of all 26 victims lost in the tragedy. An emotional weekend for everybody. Let's go to the second quarter, and Chris
94
Johnson
yards he
honors
runs.
those on his
Chris
shoes.
Berman.
An amazing 94-yard
Yeah.
touchdown.
Isn't that crazy? Not too many
run.
people have done it.
You know what takeoff means?
Yay, Chris Johnson.
Yay, good for us. Good for him. Look at that.
And I'm gonna take off.
Amazing.
Look at this shank punt by Brett
Can we see a close-up of his
total of
shoes?
19 yards
That
on
he
it.
had
So
all
Rex
the
is
little
like, we
kids
still got a chance
from
at
the elementary
playoffs.
school, all the little angels now that
No, you don't have a chance. Are you
the
kidding
names
me?
on his
That's
shoe.
Nick Mangold, the Pro Bowl center with the low snap, and there goes the season.
Chris.
What about, let's take a look at,
Your league.
yes, I want to take
You're
a look at
leading
my,
the way, right?
my bracket after I kicked out Miss Indiana
Brian,
on her arse.
let's bring it up.
There it is. Look
you
at
go.
that. Can I see it on there
Yep.
too? Okay, now I'm going to explain this to everybody at home as if they don't already know. Go to the league home. Okay, so last week I played Jamie Miller, and her name is Pamie Miller, and I won 126 to 90. She had, yeah. And now I advanced to the semifinals. As you can see, I played Carla's Angels, which she had a bye week because she finished second in the league.
Who's Titty Titty Touchdown?
Titty Titty Touchdown is Carly.
Okay.
And she lost to Deck the Balls, which we know is Jesse James, Eric Decker's fiance, plays for the Broncos, and one of my best friends. And now this week she plays Cashley Hustle, who's also another one of my besties. And she was first. She finished first in the league, and Carla finished second, Carla's Angels. And so now the winner of those two games plays each other. So, in other words, me. I'm going to win. And I will most likely...
Sure.
It would be so fun to play Jesse, but also it would be so fun to play Cashley Hustle. So these are the two options. Whoever wins between Cashley Hustle and Jessica James, I play them. And then I go to the Super Bowl. That's how it works. Follow the yellow brick roads. Follow the bouncy ball.
We will see next week.
Yes, we will. With 2 weeks left in the regular season, here are some of the teams that you don't want to play. The Broncos, the Redskins, the Seahawks.
Or if you're playing those people, you should do a happy dance, right?
Right. If you have those people on your teams, then you're great. But if somebody on the opposing team has them, then watch out because they're on fire. Denver justified its rise to number 1 by beating Baltimore, while the Redskins moved into the top 10 for the first time all year with their 5th straight win. The Seahawks earned their highest ranking of the year by cracking 50 points for the 2nd straight week in a row against the Bills. And on the other hand, who wouldn't want to play the offensively challenged Jets?
I don't know.
Who dropped to number 20 as they bumbled their way out of the playoff contention, or even the inconsistent Giants, who fell to 9th place after stinking it up in the Georgia Dome with that hideous loss to the Falcons. Here's some of the power rankings. Brian? Denver is sitting at number 1, and they have clinched the playoffs. I'm sorry, they're at number 2, actually. The Texans are at number 1, 12-2.
Right. Patriots are 3 and Ravens are 4.
Yep. And then we have the wild card situation with the Colts and the Bengals. And in the hunt is the Steelers and the Dolphins. And for my Dolphins to make the playoffs, the Steelers will have to lose 1, and the Colts will have to lose, or the Bengals will have to lose 2. So let's all hope and pray for that, shall we?
Everyone's
Why
praying
don't
for
we?
you.
And in the NFC, we have the Falcons sitting at 12-2. They've clinched. 49ers are in. Packers are in. Redskins are in. Wild card, we have Seahawks, Vikings, and in the hunt, we have a log jam with the Bears, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Rams, and the Saints. Eliminated, I'm so happy to inform everybody, the Jets and the Browns, Chargers, Titans, Bills, Raiders, Jaguars, and Chiefs. And in the NFC, eliminated are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Panthers,
Cardinals, Lions, and Eagles.
Yep, done. They're out. We'll be right back with a word from our sponsors, and after that, we'll return with Hollywood actor Jonathan Schaech. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Talkapolis, and we're going to answer some Twitter questions and send us anything you want. And what do you have to add to that, Sharra?
I have to add that you need to follow us on Twitter at
Absolutely.
Talkapolis and
Download
follow you.
Follow me.
Nanci Filippelli, right?
Yeah, .com/Nanci Filippelli, twitter.com/Nanci Filippelli, and also download our free app at talkapolis.com.
That's right. See you soon.
Jeff Meeks and Chris Austin invite you to watch your favorite sports event at the Batter's Box at 43 Hermitage Avenue in Nashville, Tennessee. The Batter's Box offers shuttle service to all Titans home games. It's a great place for friends to gather for the game and after the game. So check out the Batter's Box Bar and Grill, and thanks again for sponsoring the show.
Welcome back. We have special guest in the studio with us today, TV, film, actor, writer, producer, and director, activist for the arts, and autism activist, but most importantly, fantasy football junkie, Jonathan Schaech. He has starred in movies that we love, like That Thing You Do with Tom Hanks, and he was sweet enough to be with us today to take time away from his busy filming schedule. He's shooting Ray Donovan on Showtime right now and Lifetime's The Client List with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Welcome to the show, everybody. Jonathan Schaech.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So I hear you're a big fantasy football junkie.
Yes, I'm in 3 leagues.
Whoa.
Well, I was in 3 leagues because now we're in the championships. We're in the finals.
Okay.
And in the one league, I'm going to the final next week, and that's the league that I've been in the most, and that's my league with everybody back in Maryland.
Okay.
And then I'm in another league.
And that's where you're from, Maryland.
And I'm from Maryland.
All right.
And then I'm in another league that's kind of a Hollywood league, and I've been part of that with Josh Charles and some other actors and good friends. And that's the Cole League. And I just got kicked out of the league. Now I'm fighting for 3rd place in that one.
Oh, no. Was that the big money league? That's the baller league?
Yeah, that's the big money league.
What's your prize? Like, what, we have...
It's illegal.
It is? Oh!
It's a lot. It's a lot of money. That's the big money league.
Illegal. Right, gambling is illegal.
But then the third league that I'm in is called the Douchebag League.
That's awesome.
And
can I play in that league next year?
You could be in that league. And in that league, it's a bunch of Hollywood producers and kind of people that work behind the scenes mostly. But it's also, I dragged Jay DeMarcus from Rascal Flatts into it.
Our
this year.
hometown boy in Nashville.
That's right. And I just want to tell everybody, me and Jay are both out. We both got kicked out.
Oh, no.
And unfortunately, Jay had to make his picks this year, and he was on stage performing. So he did the auto draft, and he wound up getting Peyton Hillis as his lead running back. He had no running backs throughout the whole year. And then when Gronk went out, he just completely...
I had Gronk too. I drafted him, and
Yeah.
he just took a big dumpster.
And then
right
he
on
had
the field.
Finley, and Finley never, Jermichael Finley never really did anything for fantasy this year.
We play in an all-girls fantasy league called the Pigskin Pussycats, and then we also have our Talkapolis league here at the studio. I've kind of forced everybody to play with me. But in our all-girls league, we have a girl, Jennifer Wayne. Julie, Jennifer Wayne. She auto-drafted, and she got the best team out of anyone. I was so upset. So what did I do? I cheated, of course, because I'm the commissioner. So I stole all of her players. I didn't do that. I'm just kidding. Cut that part out.
Yeah.
No, but it ended up where she actually didn't make the playoffs, which is kind of weird. She didn't change anything throughout the thing, and she had a couple bye weeks hurt her. So
Oh yeah, you got to make some changes.
She ended
you got
up
to
being-
get a good bench in fantasy.
yeah, absolutely. And so she was like 7th, and only 6 teams made the playoffs. So I made my playoffs, and I made the semifinals. So now the winner of this game and the winner of the other person's game, my game and the other person's game, play the championship. So I'll be in, for the Super Bowl. But we're playing for a sash, a crown, and a trophy. We're not playing ballers like you.
Well, it's really bragging rights is what it is.
Oh, I know.
Everyone's very serious about fantasy football.
Are they?
I mean, today is Wednesday, so you got to make sure you get your picks in for the Thursday night games.
Right.
If you're uncertain about the injuries that are going in, you want to make sure that guy's either goes on your flex and then you can pull him out at the last second. You got to really be on top of your game in your fantasy.
Well, I know. It's like a total,
Yeah.
time-consuming type of situation. So wait a second. You have to call your starters in by Wednesday? You have to put them in the computer?
No, if they're going to start on Thursday, if they're going to be in the Thursday
Oh, okay.
game, yeah.
It's not a game time decision thing for you guys?
It is on Sunday, but if you have players that could potentially be in the Thursday game, you got to make sure that they're in, and you make sure you do everything by Thursday night.
Oh, okay.
Or you could get screwed up.
We do our Thursday games right before the game starts, and then we can still change our starters.
Yeah, we can do something.
Okay, because when I started playing, I'm not to date myself, but I started playing 16 years ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, back when it was like pen and paper, before computers. Oops. We had to call our starters in Wednesday before midnight on an answering machine on voicemail, and then we had to check who won in the newspaper on Tuesday morning. We had to add the scores. There was no computers to add it for us.
That's great.
It was a lot of fun.
16 years ago.
16 years ago.
Oh, I was doing kind of my own version of fantasy baseball about 16 years ago.
I hear you're into baseball. You wrote a baseball book.
I'm a baseball freak with statistics and everything. So I kind of grew up, me and my best friend Adam Elliott, we were doing fantasy baseball before anyone even thought about it.
Really?
Yeah, we had our baseball cards and we did the whole leagues upon ourselves. Yeah.
Do you play fantasy baseball now?
Yeah, I'm in one league.
That is time-consuming.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it keeps you I'd like to know the younger players.
Right.
You know, I could tell the guys that are off steroids and,
Right.
you know, the ones that were on steroids, their stats have fallen off, and how someone past the age of 33 really can't play baseball anymore.
You know any cute
like
ones
they
for me?
used to.
I'm always like telling everybody, do you know any cute ones for me? Any baseball players? Anybody for me? No. So, all right, what about this baseball book that you wrote? You're an author too, among all of the other things.
Well, I became friends with this guy named Rick Dempsey. Now, he played for the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, I heard.
When I grew up, he was a 1983 MVP for the Baltimore Orioles. Well, Rick came to me. Well, a friend of ours brought me to Rick, and I went to the stadium, and he brought me into the dugout, and Rick told me, he said, listen, I have this story that needs to be made into a feature film. And I was like, what is it? You know, everyone keeps telling me this is the greatest story ever, and this is the story. In 1963, his Little League team was the first West Coast team ever to travel to the Little League World Series in Pennsylvania. They had to win 13 games in a row in order to qualify for the game. 9 players on that team made it to the pros in one way or the other.
Wow.
Their bat boy at the time was Robin Yount, who was a Hall of Famer.
Really?
Now, those 13 cities that they went to, a bank was robbed in each one of those cities.
Did they do it?
The coach was robbing banks in each one of the cities
Shut
that
up.
they went to.
You're joking.
He was part of a bank robbing duo called Mutt and Jeff. They were called Mutt and Jeff because the coach was very tall and the other robber was very short. Now, Paul Rosenbluff never went to the stadium, but he would literally drop him off at the games, and he had a briefcase with the gun and the money inside of it, and he's right there in the dugout. True story.
How did they figure this out? It was just like...
Well, eventually, he had these dark rimmed glasses. His name was Huey Jennings. And when they went to Pennsylvania, the Little League team was put on the front cover of the local paper. And he had his glasses on, his dark rimmed glasses. And they decided, Paul flew out to Pennsylvania, that they would try to rob one bank just before the World Series. It's a true story.
This
And
is crazy.
as the one time that he didn't take off his dark rimmed glasses before he went in to rob the bank, he came running out. He ran into a little old lady. He knocked her over. He helped her with her groceries. And as he did that, she was really upset with him. And she identified those dark rimmed glasses and said, that's that guy on the cover of the newspaper. And so they played the game. Then the FBI traveled out to California, went to his office. He was an insurance salesman. Went into his office, and there he was counting the money.
This book, I'm going to call it right now, this book is going to be made into a movie.
Well, it was. We wrote it as a screenplay for Adam Sandler's company, Happy Madison,
Oh.
and
so it
Columbia
already is.
Pictures.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's going to be a movie.
Well, we hope.
that's
It all
amazing.
depends if Adam Sandler wants to make it into a film or
It
not.
sounds like he would probably. That's kind of his humor.
Yeah, well,
and a good story.
he did pay me a lot of money to write the screenplay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you worked with Tom Hanks, too. How amazing was that thing you do?
Yeah, Tom is
So cool.
amazing.
I bet.
Big baseball fan.
Is he?
Yeah, last year he was directing a film. He hadn't directed a film since That Thing You Do. And so he knows I'm a huge baseball buff, so I would get his seats every single game.
Really?
Almost every single game. He's got some good seats, too.
That's a sweet hookup.
I know.
Is there the box? What is it called? The Wonders? I mean, the box that he has? Is it called something from the movie, right? The record company?
Playtone.
Playtone.
Yeah.
That's what.
That Playtone was the record. This is what you mean?
Yeah.
Playtone is the record label that was in That Thing You Do, and now his production company is called Playtone.
Okay.
So ever since that, Gary Getzman and Tom Hanks decided to form a company called Playtone, and Playtone's given us Band of Brothers, you know, the Pacific, and all these incredible, the John Adams, you know, series and HBO.
That's so cool. I have a Tom Hanks story. The first time I moved to LA, one of the first times, I was in Katsuya in Brentwood. And I'm at the hostess stand, I'm waiting for my table, and all of a sudden I hear somebody behind me. I'm picking up my to-go order, and I was like, that's Tom Hanks for sure. I know that voice anywhere. And I turn around, and it's Tom Hanks, and I'm like, no way. You just don't expect to see. And so he was so nice, and I was with my girlfriend Jennifer, who we were just talking about, Wayne, and he gave up. He was waiting for his food, and he gave up his seat for me, and we all started talking, and I was like, I just moved here. It's so nice to meet you. And he goes, yeah, I know. They told me you were coming, and just like joked back and forth. And he's so funny. Like Tom Hanks, back in the, like bachelor party days, hysterical. Those movies were hysterical.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen that, right? Bachelor Party?
Of course.
Not a lot of people
I was a
have.
huge Tom Hanks fan when I got the opportunity to meet him.
I bet.
I couldn't believe when I met him. I was so excited. He had just won 2 Academy Awards, so I was really excited to see him.
That's amazing. All right, so what about this Adopt the Arts cause that you have?
Adopt the Arts is something that Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses started.
Oh, okay.
And he started because he went to his, he heard from his neighbor, Abby Berman, who's also one of the heads of Adopt the Arts, and realized that they were taking the arts not only out of the all the schools in Los Angeles, but they were taking it away from the elementary school kids.
Oh.
And Matt was like, he couldn't believe that was happening. He was like, how can they take away all, any of the arts for little kids? Like,
They need that.
taking away the creativity.
Yeah.
And then he called me up and literally told me the same thing, and I was like, oh, man. Look, the arts have always been one thing that have always been taken out of any school systems at high schools. You get to choose if you want to take one music class or you take an art drawing class when I was in school. But now they've knocked it down all the way down to elementary levels because they do this bubble testing, and I can get very into this, and you have to calm me down.
No, tell me.
Because I did my research and I did my homework because I had to take this message of Adopt the Arts and what we were trying to do, and I had to go to the White House and I had to go to Congress and kind of give a speech. And one thing I learned is through the bubble testing, the analytical side of a child's brain is what they're really trying to get better scoring of. So as they do that, they're pushing the math sciences and all the other disciplines. Right. So that's why they're starting to push aside all the arts, almost like they're not necessary. But the whole thing is with the child. I mean, when you get older, you can make choices. But a child, actually, sometimes they can't even get to the analytical side unless they get to the creative side.
Right.
And once you spark that creative element in a child, then they can get to the analytical side. So even when they go to take these bubble tests that were mandated from No Child Left Behind to try to make our school system better, it was really alienating a really strong section of students. And so, my thing was creativity, the music, the arts, those are things that kind of encourage children to be creative.
Right. I heard that's what it does. Yeah. You need that creative part of the brain for the intellectual part of the brain to work and to learn and to develop, really.
Not all children think the same. And we all do not think the same.
Right.
So if some people are very strong on their analytical side, I think that would be considered your left side.
Right.
And soft, not real, they're all kind of interwoven. but like, say, the left side. But if you can't get to that, I'll take for me, just hit my mic. Can you still hear me? Yes. For me, one thing I talked about when I talked in front of Congress is that I was, as I grew up, I had reading comprehension dyslexia. And no one knew that when I was growing up. They just kind of put me in an isolated class and kind of put me on the short bus. I say that when jokingly, but they really did. And it wasn't that I wasn't smart. It's just that I would read something and I could not comprehend it the same way someone else could.
Okay.
And I remember being in those classes, and I remember thinking to myself, I'm not dumb. Yeah. Why am I put in a dumb person's class?
Yeah.
Like, I'm testing really high in math, and I know I'm smart, and I don't know how to get out of this. And they kept pushing these really simple tests with me. But what happens with most children who have this dyslexia and other special needs children, they overcompensate. And so I overcompensated, and the only way that I was able to do that is when they got me into drawing and painting classes, because then I could see the image of what it was that was written.
Right.
I would draw it, and then that's how I kind of comprehended. And that's how I kind of got into the world of acting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so, and I think there's a lot of children out there also who also need that kind of connected tissue to be able to.
Yeah.
And when I was out there, is that the creative mind is just as important to a businessman that when you're trying to solve a problem to get more money for your company, you want that analytical thought, the person who can put things down properly, exactly how to get there. But if you guys are not making your profit the way you want it, you need a creative element. So we start taking away creative elements at the elementary school level, we're going to have a bunch of robots walking around.
Exactly. And now if they act like that, or if they have some sort of dyslexia or anything, they don't even go and try and further find out what the problem is. They just put them on drugs or Ritalin or everything like that rather than being a parent, and it's so sad.
Yeah, that's
now we're seeing the side effects of that now with the 20-year-olds and what's happening.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's horrible. I don't want to get into the drug-induced world that we live in.
I know it's really sad.
Yeah.
But
they just put a new Walgreens up on Vine and Sunset.
Oh yeah, I'm banned from that. I have my little mugshot on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not allowed to go in there. I went in there one night and oh wait, I can't tell the story. What am I doing? That's not right. What else are we going to talk about? Let's see. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. The epic school battle on on YouTube. Did that stem from the arts?
Well, it was something that because it was happening at such an accelerated pace, and when I got involved with Adopt the Arts, I started getting tweets and Facebook messages that they were taking the arts away from schools across the country, and then I started realizing that there's been programs set up to raise money for the arts all the way across this country, and I started getting more involved, started more understanding it. But at the elementary school level, it's never really been done. It's kind of ridiculous,
Yeah, absolutely.
The grade after kindergarten, they're taking the crayons out of children's hands.
Ridiculous.
So I wrote this little short, basically, and Matt Sorum and I, we got Steven Tyler, we got Kiss. Kiss came on board, man. Jane Lynch was kind of
love her. She's hysterical.
Awesome. And so we made this little movie. It's called Epic School Battle, and got all these people to donate their time and energy, and it's a really great little 3-minute piece that says, guess what, everybody, they really are taking the crayons out of children's hands.
And little robbers are stealing them in this short. And
they're stealing all the arts away from the children. How can we let that happen? We can't let that happen.
I'm so glad you're taking a stance on this and you're really bringing awareness to it and everything. And you guys can check it out on YouTube too. Google that and watch it. It's really funny.
Epic School Battle. It's fun. It'll blow your mind.
So what about, what was your favorite team growing up? Football.
I was a Baltimore Colt fan.
Baltimore Colts, right?
Yeah.
They were the
I
Baltimore
grew up
Colts.
and I still remember the Mayflower vans taking my team away and not really understanding what was that. I will never like the Mayflower from here on out. But then, as time went, I couldn't be a Colts fan. They stole my team. So then I became like a Steeler fan a little bit, and then I became a Redskins fan. And until '98, when the Ravens came to Baltimore, when the Browns came to Baltimore, thank God we didn't keep the Browns name, and we gave them back their franchise, and we kept we started the Baltimore Ravens.
And they're in the playoffs now?
Yes, they're in the playoffs. Hopefully they'll win their division. We'll see. They got a 3-game losing streak, which I think is really, really good for the team.
Well, they played Denver last week and they got fire.
Yeah, but see, they are a veteran team. They know how to win in the playoffs. These 3 losses, and guys, that play football will be like, yeah, but their losing streak's the worst time ever. I think if they turn it around the next two games, which are huge, against the Giants and the Bengals, they will carry the momentum, and with the same team that has been to the playoffs, with the main core group, all the guys that have been playing all along wouldn't have been playing. So they have the backups now that have the experience to be able to step in there when needed. And that could be the difference maker because, in football, most games go down to the fourth quarter as it is.
Right.
So I think that we could be, and Jada Marcus is sitting there going, you're out of your friggin' mind.
Is he in the play? He's out too.
No, he's a
playoffs.
Bengals fan.
No, but is he in the playoffs in fantasy?
Oh, no.
He
I think he's winning this other league.
Oh,
he's in
okay.
2 leagues.
What's your team name? What's his team name?
I can't say what his team name is.
Mine is Sex in the City.
I can't say his name.
You still can't say his name after
It's
that?
the douchebag league. We have the worst names.
We have some crazy team names too, though. You really can't say it. What about yours? Is it that bad?
No, mine's Schechter.
Oh, okay. So yours isn't bad.
Yeah, mine's Schechter.
All right. Lastly, do you have any advice for the viewers out there that are in their playoffs as far as like who definitely not to start, who to start, you know, that sort of thing?
Let's see. The next coming, stay away from the guys that, like the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not going to be starting any of those guys because they want to see where their team is going to go.
Exactly. Yeah. What do you think about the people that have already clinched their division? All the teams that have clinched, like say Peyton Manning, are they going to be like?
Well, hopefully your league has adapted so that you guys are in your finals in the next week because then
we are. It cuts off week 17.
Because after that's when they start sitting their starters.
Right.
They'll still play them because they're still fighting for home field advantage, which is huge in the playoffs.
Right.
So they won't give up.
Okay. So they won't.
Like
sit
they're not going to
just
sit
yet.
Tom Brady. Like you remember that I lost last year because I went against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, the final game, and you would think that how many freaking touchdowns did that guy have that game? Like 6 or 5.
Insane.
It was, and I
had
had
a
such a
banner
huge
career
lead on this guy, such a huge lead, and Aaron Rodgers decides to keep playing in the fourth quarter. I was so upset. He got so many touchdowns.
You're probably thinking, I got this. He's got to score like 50 points for this guy to even come close, and he did.
And he did. Yep.
Oh no, that's the worst when that happens.
So get Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Those two guys, phenomenal. But you know what?
Adrian Peterson.
Oh man, he's
blowing
been
up.
Yeah, and because he had the big injury, you can't take injured players in your first round. So people got him in the second round.
Right.
They're lucky. Yeah.
They
I didn't get
bagged
him
him
in
up.
any of my leagues. So. But I got
I didn't
RG3 and 2.
You did? Did you get him after the draft? Because nobody drafted.
I got him. I did not pick a quarterback until he came around. Because
That's crazy.
Last year I had Cam Newton, and because of his legs and his ability to run and score touchdowns, I mean, watching RG3 in college, he was just like, that guy's going to run the ball into the end zone.
Right.
I mean, that's a given.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that hard if he goes into, third down passing situations. He'll be able to run into the end zone.
We got some amazing rookie like Andrew Luck, RG3. It's been like.
Yeah. You're a big Andrew Luck fan. You were pushing him on people to say, pick him up.
Oh, did you see
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, he's on fire. And that Colin Kaepernick guy.
Oh, he's been great. I picked him up.
I picked him up too.
Yeah, when Vic went down, I picked Colin up.
Yep.
But now they're saying that next week he's not going to do very well. I can't remember what defense he's going
Good, I'm glad
against.
you're saying that because I was thinking about starting him and I need to win this game to go to the Super Bowl.
Well,
So
who's your other quarterback?
Tony Romo.
Well, yeah, Tony has to.
Play good.
He has to. And who are they going against?
Dallas is playing. I don't know. I gotta look
I
that
know.
up.
We should have that stuff in front of
Why
us.
don't we have all these things at our disposal? Brian?
Oh, they fell asleep. When I started talking about Adopt the Arts, they went to sleep with the rest of everybody else. Sorry.
Thank you so much for being on the show. This was so fun. I really appreciate it.
Sure. My pleasure.
You want to throw a goodbye out there to everybody and tell them to follow you on Twitter and Adopt the Arts and all that situations?
Oh, yeah. Follow me on Twitter at John Schaech, Schaech, and that's John Schaech. And follow me for Adopt the Arts because it is something I think everyone needs to be aware of in a big way.
Yep.
For our kids.
Do it for the kids.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
Microcasting for your city. Talkapolis.